Welcome to episode 93 of the Sports Marketing Machine podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Neisser. Today, we're digging into the pros and the cons of selling tickets to brokers. That means actively selling them to brokers. There's a lot of pros and there's a lot of cons. Let's dig into it and really unpack which one may make the most sense for you. Today we're digging into the topic of ticket brokers, the pros and the cons of actively selling tickets to them. Did you know the concept of ticket brokering dates back to the late 19th century? The first known use of the term ticket broker was back in 1880 when enterprising individuals began reselling tickets to theater performances in cities like New York and London. Obviously, things have evolved since then, but the core main idea is connecting buyers to sellers for high-demand events. Now, ticket brokers, of course, have their space in a lot of major sports and college football in some regards as well, and a lot of concerts and what have you. But what I've started to notice as working with teams and their data is that there is a lot more and more ticket brokers buying up tickets for minor league sports and even mid-major college athletics. So it could be a mid-major college athletics for football or minor league soccer or minor league baseball or minor league hockey. We're seeing this more and more. Even summer collegiate league baseball, ticket brokers are buying up tickets for this. So they really are finding different places for themselves to make more money. As I started to look through the data, I asked a team, hey, who is XYZ? They bought $10,000 worth of tickets this year, and they're all single game. And they'll say, hey, this is a ticket broker that we sell to. When I was working in college athletics, we had a ticket broker that would buy up our tickets to the conference tournament. If we lost, we had all these extra tickets to the conference tournament. We sold them to them, and they did whatever they typically do with them. They sold them. So, let's dig into the kind of the pros and the cons. Should you be selling to them? Should you not? All your considerations. So let's talk about the pros. Some teams really like the idea of guaranteed sales. Brokers purchase tickets up front, provide you with immediate revenue. That's phenomenal. Teams aren't really in a position to walk away from a bunch of cash. So if someone walks up and says, hey, I want to buy $9,000 worth of tickets, well, there's a lot of teams wouldn't hesitate and they would just sell them the tickets. It also limits the risk for teams because they no longer have a lot of unsold inventory, especially for your less popular games. These brokers also have sophisticated platforms. They're not just using StubHub and Vivid Seats. They have a lot of other different places where they sell tickets. They probably have some people that reach out to them to be able to buy tickets as well. And they know from a dynamic pricing insight. Really, you can learn from brokers about pricing strategies to better understand market demand, which is really fascinating. So there's definitely some pros there. And then there's some cons, and these are some things that have really come up from some teams over the last 6 months, 8 months that I've spoken with. It's really a loss of price control. Brokers sell the tickets at inflated prices, and it oftentimes can create negative perceptions of fans. Oftentimes, specifically, let's just talk minor league sports, minor league baseball, and college summer collegiate baseball. You could look around the 4th of July, one of the most popular games of the year, and these ticket brokers are running Google ads to their StubHub account trying to sell these firework game tickets. I see this all the time. Fans are going on there thinking that they're buying them from the team and they're paying 7 times, 8 times what the price was. Obviously, it creates a really big negative experience for the ticket buyer that, gosh, this ticket was $60 to come to this game. Had they just called the team or went to the team's website to buy the ticket, they would. But oftentimes, these ticket buyers, they simply just don't know. And who has to deal with the negative perceptions and the negative feedback from the fans? The team. And obviously, an impact on fan loyalty. Fans who purchase through brokers feel a lot less connected to the team, and it's more like transactional. Maybe you have a process when someone goes online and buys a single game ticket that you send a thank you email or whatever it may be. If people are buying tickets through a broker, they're losing out on kind of that fan loyalty customer service that you often have. And then competition. Obviously, they're competing with you. They're competing with the official team sales channels, just like I mentioned that experience with the Google ads, and it's ranked number one when someone typed in 4th of July fireworks show near me. They're going to rank higher than you are for that because they're paying for that spot. Oftentimes, brokers have the risk there of fail to sell a seat, so it also leads for you to a lower per cap. So if they can't sell some of those tickets that they're trying to get that high price for, you really have you put your back against the wall because your per cap's going to be impacted. Hey, I anticipate 1,000 people here, but 250 of those tickets are brokers, and those people don't show up because they can't sell them at the price. All of a sudden, you had planned for 1,000 and you had 750. Like, that really could make a mess on your per caps, impact your merchandise sales, food, parking, all of the above. It will really create a mess. And then there's a data disconnect. These teams will miss out on valuable buyer data and insights when these tickets are sold through third parties. Oftentimes, you're collecting all the information of the fans. When they're buying through your website, you're adding them to your email list, you're remarketing to these people, trying to get them to come back out, trying to promote all of your upcoming games, promotions, and what have you. But you don't get that if the ticket broker selling their tickets through StubHub, Vivid, or wherever else, and they're selling their tickets, you're not getting the buyer information, which really hurts. So let me give you some key considerations. So maybe you're in the camp of, hey, I'm a team. I just need to sell some additional tickets. I want cash, Jeremy. I don't mind it. I just need money. Okay, great. No big deal. There's definitely some pros there. I'm not going to tell you, no, you don't do that for sure because you want money, but there's definitely some cons there. Now, if you're in the camp of potentially like a mid-major college football and you're like, I know I have some brokers, we're doing our best to kind of limit them, but we don't, it is what it is. I've got to sell 15,000, 20,000 or 12,000, whatever your seats may be for your games. So there's definitely a mess between one side and the other, but wherever camp you're living in, you kind of have to have a stance and really some considerations when you're thinking about selling tickets or even actively selling tickets to brokers. I spoke with a team today. It says, yeah, I've got 6 brokers that call me up and they give me $12,000 total in tickets for this year, and they're buying season tickets that they will be flipping. Well, there's not a lot of teams that would say no to $12,000 in new season tickets. That's for sure, especially your minor leagues and your lower level sports. Now, let's think about like the Colorado football with the Buffs there. I'm sure there's lots of brokers there buying a lot of different tickets and flipping them because people want to be a part of that. But this is happening even to the next level down in your lower level mid-major football programs as well as your minor league sports. It's really messy. All right, let's dig into the key considerations. Inventory management. Let's set limits on how many tickets brokers can purchase to maintain control over availability. How do you do that? When they call you up, you say, hey, you can only buy this much. Or maybe inside your ticketing software, if they're buying from a specific email address, you say, hey, you can only buy 100 to a game, or 40 to a game, or 60 to a game, or what have you. Like set some inventory limits so that they you can control the availability. Pricing strategy. Maybe you collaborate with brokers to ensure ticket prices remain reasonable for fans because they have data that you don't know. It's straight up, they have information that you don't know. Data sharing agreements, when you're working one-on-one with ticket brokers, negotiate deals where the brokers have to provide anonymized customer data to help you understand their buyer trends. So here's what's happening. 4th of July game, using that as example, these ticket brokers come back rather and say, hey, here's some data about some buyers that purchased. I bought 200 tickets. Out of the 200, most of them bought tickets in the $25 range, and then a few bought them in the $18 range, and the rest of them bought in the $15 range. So maybe the teams are not selling the tickets at a higher price point, or maybe the ticket broker will come back and say, hey, you're actually charging more than you should. So it's really a great opportunity to really have conversations with brokers and get them on your camp so that they can help you price tickets more affordably for fans moving forward. Fan-centric policies ensure brokers adhere to team guidelines that prioritize the fan experience. So when they sell these tickets on their different platforms, StubHub, what have you, if you have a relationship with the broker, you kind of want to communicate some things to say, hey, these are the only seats that we provide X, Y, and Z for, so that the broker can include that information in the post that they have. Because that would be really wacky for a fan to buy something and they simply just don't know what they're getting into. So some fan-centric policies, so the broker has all of the details. If you're actively selling to them, give them all the details. Make it easy for them to sell more tickets. And then also dynamic pricing alternatives. You may want to invest in internal dynamic pricing systems to compete with broker offerings. I'll put a link in the show notes of a company that helps a lot of teams all across America kind of help with the kind of the pricing side to compete with the brokers. So actually, they'll list all of your tickets in a lot of these different platforms so that the brokers can't buy them up and post the same ones because they're already published to these platforms. So I'll put a link in the show notes. You can reach out to a company that can help you with that if you are interested. So a lot of good things to think about. There's definitely some pros to building some relationships with some ticket brokers, and then there's some cons. So it's really up to you to decide what camp you're falling into. Are you okay with someone calling you up and giving you $5,000 for a bunch of tickets? I'm sure there's a lot of teams out there that say absolutely, knowing that this person will be posting them for sale on a different platform. If you're not, how are you controlling how many tickets brokers are buying? What's your process there? So definitely some things to think about as you consider the option of selling tickets actively to brokers or not. All right, until next time.